What a race! Holy Jesus, that was something, to say the least. Welcome everybody in. We're going to talk about the 2023 Forever 400 in a moment. I completely understand people being upset. I am upset too with the way NBC ended that. But I have something right now that they don't. I have the point standings for you. We can lead it right off right now. So, of course, we have Larson locking himself in last week, Bell locking himself in today. Now, the cut line. Third is William Byron plus 30. Fourth is Ryan Blaney plus 10. Reddick minus 10. And fifth, sixth, Denny Hamlin minus 17. He is tied with Martin Truex Jr., but due to having a better finish or something, I believe, last week, I believe he had a better finish than Truex. Because of that better finish, he wins a tiebreaker at the moment with the 19, who's in 7th. Chris Buescher in complete must-win scenario right now, minus 43 in 8th. So again, the cut line is Byron plus 30 and Blaney plus 10. And those under are Reddick minus 10, Hamlin and Truex minus 17, and Buescher minus 43. I know a lot of people are going to want to be asking about that, and we will repeat it again later on. But for those of you coming in right now who want to know, who haven't seen it on Twitter or anything like that, those are your playoff standings according to J-Ski. Now, J-Ski could be a little off here or there, but it is what it is. I'll update you when it comes in. As for the race itself, the 2023 Forever 400 was 3 hours, 14 minutes, and 6 seconds long. There were 9 leaders, 25 lead changes, 5 cautions, and it was 267 laps. Christopher Bell is your winner. Bell comes out of nowhere. Mr. Clutch does it again. It is the third clutch playoff win he's had in the last 2 playoffs, I guess. I don't know how else to say that in a different way. The last 2 playoffs, he has been the most clutch driver of all of them. Coming home 1.6 seconds ahead of Ryan Blaney. Tyler Reddick comes home third in the Hamburglar car. Then you got 4th place William Byron, just did not have the long run speed. He fell back to almost 4 seconds back. AJ Allmendinger with a 5th place run. I mentioned him this week that he is someone to watch as an underdog because he ran really well last year. He ran really well this year as well at the end with a 5th place run. Then you got the Grimace Machine, Bubba Wallace, with a 6th place run today. Really didn't have the winning speed that many thought he might have had, but still good run. Same with a good run for Ty Gibbs in 7th. Joey Logano recovers to an 8th place finish. Eric Almirola with a 9th place run on the day. And now we just had a change in the final results for 10th. And originally 10th was Kevin Harvick. Now, according to NASCAR scoring, the 10th place finisher is Austin Dillon. Harvick instead will come home in the 11th position. So making sure that I will have the ticker on today. So Harvick in 11th. 12th is Austin Cindric. After Cindric, we have Ryan Preece coming home 13th, Eric Jones 14th, Chase Elliott with a 15th place run, then Suarez in 16th, 17th is Briscoe, 18th Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman gets a 19th place run and a top 20 finish in 20th for Corey LaJoie. A dismal 21st place finish for Chris Buescher today, just never had it. That car was as slow as a glacier. 22nd will come home as Michael McDowell, and last on the lead lap is Justin Haley, 23rd. 2 guys finished a lap down. That was Ty Dillon and Todd Gilliland. Then Ryan Newman, 2 down in 26th. 4 laps down for Ricky Stenhouse in 27th. And last car on track, 28th, 5 laps down, Brad Keselowski. Now, the rest of these guys were out. 29th, Martin Truex Jr. 30th, Denny Hamlin. 31st, Ross Chastain. John Hunter Nemechek, 32nd. J.J. Yaley, 33rd. Kyle Larson with a 34th place run. That win last week meant all the difference. Josh Bilicki, 35th and 36th. Last position is Harrison Burton. Now, I want to thank all y'all for the super chats and everybody coming in, over 400 watching. Click that like button and also subscribe if you're new. Looking at Isaac saying, not going to lie, as a Byron fan, I'm nervous about next week. Ever since they changed the tire combination, he struggled at Martinsville. It's going to be up in the air, but still plus 30. Pretty safe, not the safest. He's plus 20 over Blaney, but he's of those guys who have not won, he has to be the one you have to be the most confident about. All right, up here will be the ticker. There is your race results for this race. Thank you to Marky Mark for the 10. One of the best Homestead races in recent memory. So happy for my man Blaney. Sucks for Hamlin, though. And then we'll talk all about Denny Hamlin and what he's got to do at Martinsville as well as that. Matthew Brown, thank you for the 10. Yeah, the 5 crashed, but we're still good. Kyle and the team were ballistic today, and we still bring a lot of speed. I have a good feeling. Let's go 5 team. Yeah, by no means is the 5 team in any worry. They're in. They're good. And then Rios for 2 says, WTF, NBC is doing commercials during a burnout. I don't like that either. We will talk about that at the end of the race. Let's get into this. Martin Truex Jr. started on the pole, but immediately I think we all knew this race was going to be different because last year's race, if I'm being completely honest with you, I thought was pretty boring for a Homestead race standards. Homestead, I have very, very high standards for races at Homestead, and you know what? This one delivered this year. Now, yes, I get it. There was some crashing, but a lot of it was going hard and trying to make up spots and having issues like that. I didn't think it was too much carnage. I think we were skirting that line, but we did not go over the line. So I want to say that. But the difference I saw on the first couple laps is Bubba Wallace grabbing the lead, Truex and him side by side all throughout, and Truex would lead lap 1, but Bubba would take it over before Truex would take it back for a bit. And then there was also a lot of movement throughout the pack. There was a lot of 3 and 4 wide racing, and it wasn't just like the 5 or 10 laps after the restart. There was a movement throughout the day. Again, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a ton when it comes to the improvement year to year of this race. I personally would say I can't say, I don't know, between 9 or 10 out of 10 for me. That's where I'm at with it. But yeah, about lap 11, Truex gets back into the lead, and then it's only 10 or so laps later before William Byron uses the bottom lane to get the lead. So now both lanes are working at this point, and you don't know which one's going to be the dominant one, because usually, especially later into a run, it's a top lane. But on lap 31, though, all of this kind of would change up a bit because we'd have green flag pit stops. The only real penalty was John Hunter Nemechek speeding, but the interesting part was Denny Hamlin stretching it to try and get to lap 40 before pitting. And in that, he, I believe, went in the 7th position before the cycle started, which, just, bear with me. That would mean a lot. Keselowski would cycle to lead through this. Brad Keselowski with a lot of good speed today. I'm pretty sure even though he had that good speed, he's probably wishing that the 17 had that good speed because they were not very good today. But in all of this cycling out, a couple laps after that, Larson now is getting to the lead. And at this point, we all know it's Larson's race. Like, Kyle Larson is going to be the one who you have to beat to win this race. And the only way that you're going to beat him is in a lot of ways just to beat yourself, or for him to beat himself. Now, during this run as well, Chris Buescher went a lap down. He never was able to recover even after getting back on the lead lap. But the stage would end with a Ricky Stenhouse spin as he hit the wall, broke the toe link, and was just out of it from that point, contention-wise. Larson would win the stage, Keselowski second, third was Blaney, fourth was Byron, then Truex at top 5. Hamlin got up to 6th, probably could have got past Truex. And that 1 point might make the difference, especially with how close everything is. Then you got Reddick in 7th. 8th is Dillon. Austin Dillon, I should say. Believe it or not, Ty Dillon does get stage points every now and then. 9th is Bell. And 10th was Ty Gibbs. By the way, let's get over 100 likes on this one. Subscribe if you're new. We do this after every race. We got 5 races left if you include Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup all together. 5 left this year, 2 weeks. NWP as well on Black Flags Matters channel. So a lot of fun stuff coming up on this channel and others. You'll be able to see the streaming schedule for the podcast up here. But real quick, man, I'm just all over, man. Real quick, I'm gonna get a drink of water because my voice is, whew. All right, looking at a few of these on the stage break before we go to stage 2. M. Martin fan for life. Thank you for being a member for 7 months. NBC, we need ratings. Also NBC, Checkers ends it. We'll get to that. Trust me, I have plenty to say on that. Mr. Bad Guy, thank you for the 5. Off topic, but Bubba Wallace had Dr. Pepper in his bottle at the end. No joke. Nice. Phoebe, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Solid race. Shout out the famous Iceberg. And then David Bell, congratulations. Also, thanks for being a member for 7 months, saying let's go. Now, looking really quick, remember, we do have the poll on the community tab, so be sure to check that out. Already a lot of people voting and a lot of positivity being spread around. But let's get into it. Let's get into more of it real quick. NASCAR Fanatic 2425, thank you for the 5. Easy to be mad at Blaney, but it was an accident. It happens. Congratulations, Bell. 5 and 24 for the Cup. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a moment. But real quick, lap 86, we start back up with stage 2. We have a restart battle. It's the 5 and the 6 battling back and forth. Of course, 5 looking like the dominant one at this point. Stage 2, in my opinion, more relaxed, more chilled out round. You have the green flag pit stops. Hamlin does the same strategy again, makes up more spots again. This time he has more people going with him. Guys like Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, Cindric, Harvick, Elliott, and McDowell. But the stage ends with Blaney getting the win as Kyle Larson's car just fell off at the end of stage 2. It was very odd to see. And not only does Blaney get past him for the win of the stage, but William Byron gets past him as well for second. Larson comes home third. Hamlin flies up to 4th, gets good stage points there, which might save him. Come Martinsville, 5th is Brad Keselowski. Then Truex in 6th. 7th is Reddick. 8th, Gibbs. 9th, Austin Dillon. And Joey Logano in the 10th spot. Real quick, again, between the stages, Fred Dog 81 for 2. Hamlin chokes again? You don't say. Yeah, well, there's still one more week, as many people on Twitter were messing with me about, because if you remember, Denny Hamlin was saying it's his year, and it still might be, but at the moment, the prospects are not looking as good as they were, say, an hour ago. And then Alex Luff for 5. Thank you for that. With all these crashes going on, I got Megadeth's Symphony of Destruction playing in my head. Yeah, I'm gonna probably play that after on my phone. Well, let's get into the final stage. Let's get into the carnage, the destruction. Pretty much everything I have in the title of this stream. 95 to go. This is where we start getting real spicy with the restart hits off. It's a 12 and the 24. Byron would take the lead, but Blaney would then get it back after about a lap. Again, a lot of solid racing, a lot of side-by-side racing, very even on the restarts depending on what lines and what cars you got in, but still, I'd say pretty badass as well. I really liked it. One thing that they were following that if it went green, it would have mattered more, is apparently Blaney's crew didn't get the tank full, so he was having to save gas while also leading. But behind him, there was some hard racing too. Keselowski makes contact with the wall. You got Larson charging his way back up the scoreboard after he had a poor restart after already being further back because of the bad finish he had to stage 2. But the first little bit of chaos comes out with 65 to go. Josh Bilicki spins it into the pits. No caution, but he was done for the day. Sounds like it was probably just a mechanical failure. Something happened there. I don't know what it was, but about the only time we saw the 78 on screen today. But with 56 to go, pit stop starting. Here is where it gets blown wide open. Why? Because Kyle Larson is following Ryan Blaney now. They are first and second. These are the two you're going to have to beat to win this race. Blaney starts going down pit road. Now, I know they're saying he was going a little too slow, and yeah, maybe he was trying to play it safe, but Larson just flies it in, trying to make up time on him. Knows he's probably going to hit Blaney in the rear. Does get a little bit of a hit on him. I will say that. He did hit him a little bit. But in doing so, he also locks up the front tires and flies his right side into the barrels at the entrance of pit road, ending his race, putting us under a red flag, and, you know, being Larson's barrel bomb today. I mean, that was the first crazy moment. I was thinking that's going to be the crazy moment we're all talking about. That's going to be the thing that we're all looking at, you know, come the end of this race. Boy, was I mistaken. But I'll ask you this. You know, Larson now has 8 DNFs on the season. He is tied for the lead in top 5s in the Cup Series. He has led the most laps. I believe at this point he's led around 1,200 laps on the season. I might be wrong here or there, depending on how many he led today. It might be closer to like 1,100, somewhere between there. But I'll ask you this. With the speed he has, with that high-end talent, as old Utri would say, is Larson your favorite for the Cup? I asked this last week. I asked yes or no, is Larson your favorite for the Cup? And last week, it was sky high. I'm interested after this mistake, because this was a mistake. Again, checkers or wreckers Larson. Are y'all feeling the same way? Is Larson your favorite for the Cup now? So we'll put that poll up right now. I saw a few people talking about this, but it was interesting. It was like Ryan Newman walked in 2003, so Kyle Larson could crash in 2023. Very interesting. They're 20 years apart, but very, very similar seasons. 4 wins on the year for Larson, second most in the Cup Series, only to his teammate. So it's a very interesting dynamic to look at moving forward. But, you know, I know that Larson was saying, well, I didn't expect him to slow up that much, but I feel like these mistakes are really Larson's Achilles heel. Larson, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, is probably the most talented, all-around talented driver in the NASCAR Cup Series today. And I think that. But at the same time, he has been making, really for the last 2 years, if you include last year and as well, since the next gen came around, he's been making a lot of mistakes and putting himself in bad situations. That's his weakness. That is Larson's weakness. You know, it's kind of like a gunslinger in football. I always remember hearing this with guys like Brett Favre, where, you know, you live by the gunslinger, you die by the gunslinger. He's going to lead that awesome comeback or get an awesome touchdown to win the game, but at the same time, he's going to throw that interception and completely screw you when it matters. And I feel like Larson can be that way. Larson is the epitome of a gunslinger in NASCAR. That's the way I put it. Honestly, I think if you want a badass nickname for Kyle Larson, y'all should call him the gunslinger, because that really is what he is at this point. But it's interesting looking at this poll right now. Looking at the poll, I asked you guys this last week, and I want to say 70 or so, right, close to 2/3 of people, but around 70%, give or take, said yes, that Larson is the favorite for the Cup. Looking at it right now, no is slightly winning. I'm really interested to see what people are thinking moving forward, but yeah, young gunslinger, that might be one. I don't know. I think the gunslinger, just the gunslinger, so it can go through his career. I think that one's a good, because again, you live by it, you die by it. It's like live by the sword, die by the sword. That's Kyle Larson for you. But this brought out a red flag in the middle of green flag pit stops, screwing over Martin Truex Jr. Trust me, this matters later on as we go. And helping Ryan Blaney, as Blaney was the only one who pitted under this cycle of stops before the caution came out. Blaney was the only one that pitted that was on the lead lap. He would cycle back to the lead. Of course, a lot of others would start pitting. Kevin Harvick Harvick would actually make an appearance in this race. And with 46 to go, we would see Hamlin and Blaney fire off, and Hamlin got a better restart. Something happened to Blaney, maybe, whatever. And then there was a crash. Backstretch is a crash. Daly smashes into the inside wall. You got Jennifer Nemechek involved. He's out of the race because of it. Ross Chastain's out of the race because of the damage he sustained in this as well. And you got the 6 involved. So another contender. At this point, contenders are flying off the board left and right, just getting knocked out of this race. And with 30, and this is just 38 to go, I believe, with the next restart. It's the same 2 again. They're side by side, fighting for the lead. It's looking like one of them's going to get it. And down to the bottom on the backstretch, Christopher Bell dives down onto the bottom, takes him 3 wide, gets the lead. And at that point, I believe he never really had to look back outside of some restarts. But with that as well, it meant that Byron was added into this battle. Byron goes 3 wide with them as well and takes second away. Great racing throughout the pack. And only, I would say, maybe 5-6 laps later, Denny Hamlin, running in the top 5, running for the win, has a steering issue, smashes into the outside wall, and now he's out of this race. He's crashed out. And at the same time, Martin Truex Jr. is blowing up, smoke coming out of the exhaust, and he ends up falling out of this race. So now at this point, you're just blowing up the entire playoff picture. We talked about in the last week how Vegas was boring for a playoff picture sense, just because nothing really happened all that much. It was substantial. This was, and I'll say this of Martin Truex Jr. This was not his fault. Kansas was not his fault. There's probably some other 1 or 2 I'm thinking of, but they've also shot themselves in the foot even in their good run last week. This playoff run by Martin Truex Jr., it might be the, especially if he does not make it to the Final 4, it might be the biggest collapse I have ever seen. And I know many will bring up Kyle Busch. Many will bring up times Dale Jr. ran well. Burton had done that before, among other different drivers who would collapse in there. But the absolute dismal performance of that 19 team, on all fronts, from just crashing out, from all of these things, the absolute collapse and dismal performance. I can't think of another one quite like it. I can think of people who have had horrible rounds to knock them out, or have been knocked out early, like Jimmy Johnson in 2015. Kyle Larson, 2017. I can think of ones like that, but I can't think of somebody who came in as a championship favorite the way that Truex has. And by the time you get to Homestead or Las Vegas or even the Roval, you're talking about them like they're a scrub, like they're the 1 or 2 seed going into the next round, and they're picked by most people, or a lot of people, to miss. I picked him to miss the Final 4. Now I picked Buescher to make it, and that's not working out for me, but I'm flabbergasted. That's the best way I can put it. I don't know what to think about this team. Because again, looking at the points, they are 17 points out. They have, they don't have the tiebreaker at the moment over Denny Hamlin. They are 7 points behind Tyler Reddick. And Blaney's not bad really at Martinsville. He's shown speed there before. Byron's good there. Truex is really good at Martinsville, but so is Denny Hamlin. And if I'm picking anybody below the cut line at the moment, it would have to be Denny Hamlin over Truex. I would pick Reddick over Truex at this point. Buescher, I don't know, but it's just insane to me to see the absolute just Jekyll and Hyde of a season that he's had. It's amazing to me. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it, especially in the post 2014 playoff era. It's nuts. Everybody pits on that caution, by the way. Getting back to the race itself, everybody pits. The 24, 12, 24, and 22. Those are your top 5. It is Byron, Blaney, Bell, Harvick, Logano again, out of the middle of freaking nowhere. He'd been running, sub 20th for a lot of the day. He snuck his way up there. And with 25 to go, you have the restart. It's now 12 and 24 again. They're beside each other. Byron has a slide job, puts Blaney into second, and now Bell comes up and passes the 12. With 17 to go, he's behind the 24, and with 15 to go, he has taken the lead. Blaney needed a bit of time, especially when he got behind cars, to get that speed built back up, and it took too long. It took too long. Yes, he was able to charge back up. He finished 1.6 seconds back, but at this point, it was just too much. Christopher Bell gets the win, puts himself into the next round of the playoffs, the Final Four, and that is your race. And I'm going to ask this. I'm going to ask it now. My answer is a yes, but it's the question that every time we race here has to be asked. Should Homestead be the finale? I'm going to say yes, it should be. Last year was a fluke. I'm believing. I'm always going to believe that until proven otherwise. Unless next year's race is a dud. Should Homestead be the finale? I'm saying yes. It's got to be. This track is perfect for a finale. It really is. You have multiple lanes. Nobody is quite, there's Larson's very dominant, but he is not dominant in results. He finds ways to lose. And this is a track in a lot of ways that you can find ways to lose, whether it's poor strategy, whether it's picking the wrong line, driving your car too hard at the start or end of a run. There are so many ways that you can lose a race at Homestead. The race we saw here today, I think I would give it a 10 out of 10. Race of the year, it's in contention. I didn't want to jump the gun on it too much, especially in stage 2, because it was iffy at best. But man, I'm at this point, especially because in 2 weeks, we're going to race at Phoenix, and we all know that the final caution will come out with 20 or 15 to go or something like that. And more than likely, whoever of the final 4, and again, if you're going to have this format, Phoenix is not the track to have it. Whoever of the final 4 wins the race off pit road is probably going to end up being the champion. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Like, I get the crews are important. They're important in this race too, but it also needs to be in the driver's hands. Want the entertainment value of it too. You got to have it in the driver's hands a lot more, in my opinion. This track is the perfect track for a finale. I mean, I know people that go there. I know a bunch of people that were there today, and it's just not the same vibe. I went in 2019 for the finale. The final finale at Homestead, and my God, the atmosphere, it was not even that good of a race, but the atmosphere there was amazing, and it elevated the experience of the finale, and that's what you need. If you want to have those great moments, this is the type of track you got to have it on. And looking at the voting, holy Jesus, it's biased. At the moment, I'm not going to end it right now, but 94% of you are saying yes. But there's one other thing we got to talk about today, one bad thing. And that's NBC at the end of this race. My God, they botched the post race, and I get it. It's right up against the window. The red flag probably pushed them. It was a longer race. It was a 3 hour, 15-minute race. I get it, but they got half of the cooldown lap covered, and right as Bell is coming out, into 3 and 4, they cut to commercial. Through his burnouts, come back for the interview, and then say, okay, jumped over the Peacock, we got the rest of it there. Seriously. You can't just do the burnout interview, then do that, and maybe have the points on a graphic there. I know they have that stuff ready to go. The data was there for him. So I do not like that. I think it's inexcusable, as Blue Jimmy said. And if this is Fox Sports, that's the first thing people are talking about after this. Again, I love NBC, and that's why I want to hold them accountable for that. That is something that can't happen. I don't think you would see that in pretty much any other sporting event that has a post race like that. So, man, holy. So I can't let that ruin it. I can't let that ruin this day. This was such a badass, fun race from beginning to end. I didn't give a damn about football today. I don't know any of the scores. I don't care. And I'm a football fan. I like football. Even when my team is doing bad, I like it. You know, it's fun to watch, but I can't let it ruin it for me. It's got to be at least top 5. I want to wait until the recency bias is simmering down a little bit. By the way, I'm going to end the poll right here. 93% are saying yes, that it should be the finale. I'm going to let the recency bias simmer down a little bit, but man, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It was finale worthy. Real quick, we're going to get these super chats and then look at the points one more time for any of you who might have jumped in and not seen it, depending on, I don't know if they've finally put them up on social media. These, again, according to J-Ski. But we'll look at them in a moment. Real quick, let me look at these super chats. First off, Sly Supersonic for 5. I will say it again. Christopher Bell is the most underrated driver in NASCAR today. He doesn't get the credit or respect he deserves. I agree. I think he is. I don't know if he is the most, but he is definitely one of them. You know, I said last year, maybe it was the year before. No, it was last year. I said that Michael McDowell was. And I think in a lot of ways he is. I think Bell is. I think in a lot of ways Logano is, and people just don't want to admit it. But Bell is definitely in that conversation. Marky Mark for 2. Larson pulled a Kenseth in Dover 2004. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. I see in the chat, keep the beard. I'll keep it for the rest of the year. I do like it, though, when it heats up, and especially since it gets a lot warmer quicker down here in Tennessee than it does back where I used to live in Illinois. I do like having it clean shaven, especially when you go on runs. And trust me, I need to and work out. But trust me, I need to get back in shape. So I will be shaving it probably come February, give or take. But I'll have it on and off. I'm not gonna have the big beard anymore. And I never thought my facial hair would spark such a discussion. Let's see. Fred Dog 81. Thank you for the 5. What was your favorite special paint scheme? Harvick was great, but Wallace's Grimace Mobile was awesome. Honorary mention to Reddick and Bowman. You know what? Let's make that a poll. We'll make that probably the last poll of the night. And I'm actually going to probably go out and enjoy the sunset on my front. So what are the options here? Harvick. If I can spell Harvick's. Harvick's Bud Car is what she said. Okay. Bubba's Grimace Mobile. Reddick the Hamburglar. Or Bowman's, I'll say Miami Vice car, because that's basically what they always call it. So, yeah. What was your favorite? Harvick's Bud Car, Bubba's Grimace Mobile, Reddick the Hamburglar, or Bowman's Miami Vice? Favorite special paint scheme. And we'll end off on that poll as we go through the rest of these super chats. Alexander, thank you for the 10. Larson was supposed to win by 30 seconds today. How did you drop such an easy dub? In all seriousness, he should have been more disciplined on pit entry. You raced to see another lap, way too desperate. Well, I think it was more, he had nothing to lose. I mean, that is one of the flaws of the system, is if you do win that first or second one, you have nothing to lose until you get to the final 4. So he's probably, his thinking, especially in that moment with Blaney up front, is I need to beat Blaney. And this is a part I think a lot of people should think about. Larson's thinking is probably, I need to make sure that Ryan Blaney doesn't win this race, because Ryan Blaney is probably going to be the best of all of us at Phoenix if he's able to make it in. I mean, look what he did last year. Look what Penske's been able to do there. Look at the Fords in general have been able to do there. I don't want to race Ryan Blaney at Phoenix, and he's, at the moment, according to J-Ski, plus 10 in still. But he's not a lock. Had he locked himself in, I can see Larson's thinking on that one. You got to think strategy on it. You don't got to wreck somebody the way that Logano did in 2015, but you got to think strategy on it. So I don't think it's too desperate. I just think it was just also not head in the moment, if that makes sense. I know that it's very similar to being desperate, but I don't think he was desperate as much as he just wasn't thinking. So real quick, the current playoff standings, according to J-Ski, are Larson and Bell in with their wins, Byron plus 30, Blaney plus 10, Reddick minus 10, Hamlin minus 17, as is Truex, 43 back for Buescher. I don't know if there's any other updates yet. I can double check J-Ski, but that is at least what J-Ski had posted. Let's see, I can double check real quick on it, but I believe that's what we got. And my God. It should not be this hard to decipher points. Let's see, looking at it here. Yep, that is the point standings as we run. So again, last time, Larson and Bell have the win, are in the Final Four. Byron plus 30, Blaney plus 10, Reddick minus 10, minus 17 for Hamlin and Truex, minus 43 for Chris Buescher. Let's end off this poll right now. And by the way, subscribe if you like this. We do this all the time after just about every race. And you can be in the chat too if you subscribe. As well as plenty of fun stuff through the week. New shorts, videos, all of it. NWP is on Black Flags Matters channel. We're going to talk all about this as well. It's going to be a lot of fun heading into Martinsville. Hopefully it's improved. But we're going to end the poll right here. Favorite special scheme of the day. We got Harvick's Budweiser car at 55%, a fitting 23% for Bubba's Grimace Mobile, and 10% apiece for Bowman's Miami Vice car and Reddick's Hamburg car. Y'all, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, and this should be the finale. That's what I'm going to end off on. So thank you guys so much for joining us today, or for me today, joining me today. Y'all have a good night. Watch your favorite team. Watch some Sunday Night Football. Just enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and I will see you on Wednesday live, throughout the week on videos, and next weekend after Martinsville. So thanks for coming in. Later, y'all.